Matthew chapter 18 is often referred to as the Discourse on Church Life or the Discourse on Humility and Forgiveness. In this chapter, Jesus provides essential teachings for his disciples on how to live and interact within the community of believers, emphasizing humility, care for the vulnerable, radical forgiveness, and the power of unified prayer. In verses 1 through 5, the disciples approach Jesus and ask, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" This reveals their lingering worldly ambitions and misunderstanding of true spiritual greatness. Jesus calls a little child and places the child among them. He then declares, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." He adds that, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me," emphasizing the importance of valuing the vulnerable and humble. This story is also in Mark chapter 9. The key message is, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. This radically redefines greatness as humility, dependence, and lack of self-importance. In verses 6 through 9, Jesus issues a severe warning. "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." This highlights the grave responsibility of believers to protect the spiritual well-being of others, especially the vulnerable. Stumbling blocks are inevitable, but those who cause them are accountable. This teaching is also in Mark chapter 9. The key message is that we all need to take drastic measures to eliminate anything in one's life that leads to sin, rather than facing eternal judgment. In verses 10 through 4, we have the parable of the lost sheep. Jesus warns, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven." This underscores God's deep care for the humble and vulnerable. He tells the parable of a shepherd who leaves his 99 sheep to search for one lost sheep. When he finds it, he rejoices more over that one than over the 99 that did not go astray. In the same way, your Father in heaven does not want any of us to be lost. The key message is the emphasis of God's proactive love and pursuit of the lost, and his desire for the spiritual safety of all believers. In verses 15 through 17, Jesus teaches about the church, discipline, and restoration. Jesus provides a clear, step-by-step process for confronting a fellow believer who sins against you, aiming for reconciliation and restoration. Go privately. If your brother or sister sins against you, go and point out their fault, just between the two of you. Take witnesses. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Tell the church. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. Treat as Gentile or tax collector. And if they refuse to listen even to the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. The key message is that this is dealing with someone who has sinned against you. Not sinned in general. Jesus does not call us to judge others, but he does call us to hold people accountable if they sin against you personally. In verses 18 through 20, Jesus reiterates the authority given to the disciples. "Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." This refers to the church's spiritual authority to make decisions in line with God's will. He adds a powerful promise about corporate prayer. Again, truly I tell you, that if 2 of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. The key message is Jesus' emphasis on the power of unity in prayer, and the presence of Christ within his gathered community. In verses 21 through 35, we have the parable of the unforgiving servant. Peter asks, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus replies, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times, or 70 times 7. This is a way of saying forgiveness should be limitless and unconditional. He tells the parable of a servant forgiven a huge debt, but refuses to forgive a small debt owed to him. The master punishes the unforgiving servant, and Jesus warns that God will do the same to those who do not forgive from the heart. Jesus concludes, "This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother or sister from your heart." The key message from this powerful parable underscores that because we have received immeasurable forgiveness from God, we are obligated to extend radical, heartfelt forgiveness to others. Unforgiveness indicates a heart that has not truly grasped the magnitude of God's grace. There are 4 key themes in Matthew chapter 18. 1. Humility. True greatness in the kingdom is found in childlike humility. 2. Responsibility. We are responsible for not leading others into sin and for dealing with sin in the community lovingly. 3. God's love for the lost. Every individual matters to God, especially the lost and vulnerable. 4. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is central to Christian life. Because we are forgiven, we must forgive others. Chapter 18 provides a practical manual for life within the Christian community, emphasizing foundational principles of humility, protecting the vulnerable, seeking reconciliation, exercising discipline, praying in unity, and above all, practicing boundless forgiveness, mirroring God's own grace. Chapter 18 challenges us to ask ourselves 3 questions. Am I approaching God and others with childlike humility? Do I take seriously the sin in my life and how I influence others? Do I actively seek reconciliation and forgive from the heart?